Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi is a celebrated hero of India's revolt of 1857, but few know about her adopted son, Damodar Rao. The British refused to recognize adopted heirs as legitimate successors under the Doctrine of Lapse, which led to Lakshmibai's valiant fight against them. Tragically, Damodar Rao's story is both forgotten and heart-wrenching. His memoir, translated from Marathi, sheds light on what happened to the 9-year-old boy. Historian Y.N. Kelkar's book, Itihasatil Sahali, or Voyages in History, published in 1951, offers insight into this overlooked chapter of history. Damodar Rao narrates his story. I was born on 15 November 1849, in Jhansi, a collateral branch of the Kelkar dynasty. On my birth, court astrologers looked at the stars and prophesied that I had a Rajyog, or was destined to become a king. How tragically true this prophecy turned out to be. At a tender age of 3, I was adopted by Maharaja Gangadhar Rao of Jhansi. An application was sent to the East India Company's representative in Bundelkhand to recognize my adoption, but my adoptive father died soon after, before a confirmation could be received. Then, my adoptive mother, Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi, sent a representation to Lord Dalhousie in Calcutta to recognize me as an heir to the throne, but this appeal was rejected. The British East India Company declared that the Kingdom of Jhansi would be annexed under the Doctrine of Lapse, and that my mother, Rani Lakshmibai, would receive an annual pension of Rs 5,000. Additionally, Sahib, Rani Lakshmibai, would inherit all my father's personal property, including the palaces and jewelry. Lord Dalhousie decided that I could inherit these personal assets of my late father, but not the kingdom. Furthermore, there were 7 lakh rupees in the treasury in the name of my late father. When Sahib requested the money, she was informed that the British government would hold it in trust until I reached majority, at which point it would be handed over to me. In 1857, my fate changed for the worse. My mother never forgave the British for the annexation of our kingdom and raised a banner of revolt along with the entire populace of Jhansi. Unfortunately, we lost Jhansi due to treachery and had to flee to Gwalior. In the battle at Gwalior, Sahib became a martyr. My attendants would later tell me that she carried me on her back on the battlefield, but I was too young to remember this. After Sahib's death, I remained in Gwalior for the next 3 days. Of Sahib's confidence, only 60 had survived the battle. Nanekan Raiseldar, a Maratha named Ganpat Rao, Raghunath Singh, and Ramchandra Rao Deshmukh took me under their guardianship. With 22 horses and 60 camels, we broke away from the camp of Rao Sahib, brother of Peshwa Nana Sahib of Bithur, and decided to find our own way out. We fled through inhospitable terrain, jungles, and ravines, heading in the direction of Chanderi in Bundelkhand. No village on the way was willing to take pity and help us due to fear of reprisals by the British. Seeking refuge in the forest, we endured harsh conditions. We slept under the open sky, survived on fruits and berries, and avoided nearby villages due to roving British soldiers. Only in extreme emergencies would our men venture out, risking their lives to obtain provisions from local villages. As monsoons began, our situation worsened. All forest paths would be flooded, making it impossible for us to move. Remembering those terrible days sends shivers down my spine. Fortunately, a local village headman informed us that while he could not help us directly due to a British camp at Lalitpur, he would provide us with provisions if we moved to a secret location in the forest. On Nayak Raghunath Singh's advice, we broke camp and started living at different locations in small groups of 10 to avoid suspicion. We agreed to pay the headman 500 rupees monthly plus 9 horses and 4 camels for provisions and information about British movements. During these 2 years, we lived as fugitives and wanderers. I was unwell most of the time, and in the month of Bhadrapada, my condition worsened. My retainers were worried if I would even survive. They begged the village headman to send someone to treat me. The headman, shocked by my delicate state, arranged for a local doctor or Vaid, who happened to be his uncle, to treat me in secrecy. As I recovered from my illness, another problem arose. Our money had been fully exhausted. The headman rudely asked us to leave. We gave him 200 rupees and asked for the return of our horses. He returned only 3 horses, claiming the others had died. We left as a group of 12, but on our way, we were joined by another batch of followers that had left earlier, soon becoming 24. We reached the village of Treachery in Gwalior state, where locals recognized us as rebels and arrested us. We were in the local jail for 3 days, then escorted to the political agent at Jalrapatan. Without horses, we had to walk for days. My men, seeing my plight, took turns carrying me on their backs. At Jalrapatan, Nanakan, a trusted aide of political agent Mr. Flink, appealed for my release. Mr. Flink sent a message to Indore's political agent, Cole. Sir Richard Shakespeare, who agreed to settle my affairs if I surrendered willingly. We met Raja Prithvi Singh of Jalrapatan, who respected Masahib and treated me well. We were kept in prison for 3 months before reaching Indore cantonment on 5 May 1860. There, I was placed under the guardianship of Munshi Dharmanarayan, a Kashmiri official. I was allotted an annual pension of 10,000 rupees, which I had no choice but to accept as a child. The memoir ends here, but what is chronicled is that the British government refused to hand over the 7 rupees lakhs held in trust. Damodar Rao lived the rest of his days in penury, begging the British government to restore a few of his rights, but without avail. He married and settled down in Indore, where he had a son named Lakshman Rao in 1904. Damodar Rao's tragic life ended on 28 May 1906, at the age of 58. His descendants still live in Indore and use the name Jhansi Wale, after the land of their forebears. Damodar Rao, son of the legendary Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi, remains a footnote in history books, remembered as the little boy tied to his fearless mother's back as she bravely fought on the battlefield.